Last video, we went over the 5 most disappointing players this season, and I wanted to make another video on a more positive note. So today, we will be discussing the 6 most surprising players this season, the players that far exceeded our expectations going into the season. There are also players that showed signs on numerous occasions that they could take that next leap, and when they did that, it was impressive, but not surprising. I'm not going to mention players like that, and these players are decided on the unexpectedness of their improvement, instead of solely the size of their improvement. And the first player I want to give credit to is Mikal Bridges. The Suns have far exceeded my expectations even with the addition of Chris Paul. And Chris Paul's impact has been amazing, but he hasn't been the only one stepping up for the Suns this season. Dario Saric has been playing really good this season, and they also added a winning player in Jay Crowder. But Mikal Bridges has definitely improved the most, and not too many people expected for him to be doing what he is right now. He's only 24 years old, and I expected him to make a jump, but definitely not this big. He is the legit 4th option on the team, and he's damn near in the 50-40-90 club. His field goal percentage is there, his three-point shooting is there, and his free throw percentage is just short. The Suns have the 2nd record in the tough West right now, in front of the Lakers and Clippers, and Mikal Bridges has been a huge part of that. He's a great 3-and-D player, and in his first 2 seasons in the league, he has been top 10 in total deflections. He's able to lock up players on the perimeter and shoots the ball at 41% from 3 on 4.5 attempts a game. Props to Mikal Bridges because he's been huge for Phoenix this season. And the second player I want to talk about is Jeremy Grant. I actually made a video about him, so if you want to watch that, there should be a card on the screen right about now. But he used to be a role player in Denver, but now he took such a huge leap that he's the number 1 option in Detroit. He's putting up 23, 5, and 3, and wasn't in the most serious talks, but he was still in the All-Star conversation, and that's for good reason. He used to be a 3-and-D player that was a good cutter too. Now, his game has expanded far beyond that. On top of what he could do before, he can drive and create for himself. Even though he is taking on such a huge load on offense for the Pistons, his defense hasn't even regressed. I just love that he's taking on the tough task of defending the other team's best player. The Nuggets offered him a 3-year, $60 million contract, but he turned it down. He accepted the exact same offer from Detroit, but he took it. He went to Detroit for the sole purpose of expanding his game and taking on a much bigger role. He has done just that this year. I expected him to make a jump because he has so much more room to do his thing on the Pistons, but this is crazy. I thought he was going to average 16 to 18 points a game on mainly wide open shots and drives and continuing his amazing defensive efforts, but he has far surpassed that and is looking like a great all-around player. And the third player I want to discuss today is Chris Boucher. And coming from a Raptors fan myself, he used to be that tall, skinny guy that plays trash minutes. Before the season, he mainly just played when the Raptors were either up 20 or down 20 with a few minutes left of the game. That probably did help with his development a bit, getting that on-court experience, but he wasn't even a key piece to the Raptors. But now, he has become a legit role player that plays quality minutes and looks good on the court. Having the 2 rotational centers gone from the team allowed for Boucher to play more minutes. The Raptors did get Aaron Baines in return, but he's been really disappointing, and I expected development, but none to this caliber. These were stats from last year, and this is his this year. That's right, from 6.5 points to 13.5. He is a center that can stretch the floor too, because he's shooting over 40% from 3 this season on 3.5 attempts a game. Thanks to his tall frame and long wingspan, he has become one of the best shot blockers in the league. He's 5th in blocks this season, averaging almost 2 a game. And a lot of centers get their blocks from the paint, but a lot of Boucher's come from the perimeter. A lot of shooters forget how far he can reach, and he ends up getting the block. And the fourth player I want to talk about today is Mike Conley. He was known as the best, or one of the best, players to never make an All-Star game, but this year that changed. He's 33 years old, and I thought he was a little bit older, but he's still getting up there in age nonetheless. And last year, he had a disappointing season, and wasn't the Mike Conley the Jazz and everyone else thought they were getting. These were stats, and he didn't really look like himself in Utah. A lot of people thought that would be the beginning of the end of his career because his numbers went down and he just didn't look as good of a player. But it turns out that it was an adjustment year, and now he's picked it back up again. He is playing so amazing that he made his first All-Star appearance ever. This year, he's just been looking more confident on the court. He's a huge reason as to why the Jazz are the best team in the league record-wise. He's able to help facilitate the offense and hit shots when he needs to. The Utah Jazz this season are the best three-point shooting team in NBA history. I made a video about the Jazz, and the card should be on the screen right about now. But I also talked about how they're making history. The 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018 Warriors revolutionized the game with their three-point shooting, and the Jazz are breaking those records by a ton. By averaging 17 three-pointers this season, Mike Conley has been a huge part of that. Going into the season, I thought he was going to have a similar season to last. He may be a little bit better because he needed to get adjusted to Utah, but I definitely didn't expect an All-Star appearance. It's amazing what he's doing, and hopefully he can be that veteran leader to help the Jazz in the playoffs. I hope he can keep this up because he is getting older and he doesn't have a whole lot of time left, and him showing what he is this year is really amazing. And the fifth player I want to talk about today is Julius Randle. He has far surpassed the expectations I had for him going into the season. Julius Randle's leap in terms of stats are kinda overrated if I'm being honest, but that's not where he improved the most. Him being a leader and his all-around game is where he developed the most. No one will ever say that they saw it coming. The Knicks have the 5th seed in the East right now, and Julius Randle is a huge part of that. If they didn't have him on the team, they would be at the bottom of the conference and not even in the play-in tournament picture. Julius Randle was named an All-Star, and I can't be too mad at that. He's scoring, rebounding, and playmaking for the Knicks. He's doing it all. They've just been proving me wrong, and Julius Randle is only 26 years old and still has a lot of time left, so hopefully he can develop to be even something better. And the last player I want to talk about is DeAndre Murray. He has been one of my favorite young players in the league right now, and he plays amazing defense, and he has been pretty good on the offensive end for the Spurs. Going into this season, I had the Spurs being one of the bottom 3 teams in the West, and so far this year, that's not the case at all. Not only are they on pace to make the play-in tournament, but they're on pace to make the playoffs. And aside from DeMar DeRozan, there's no one remotely close to being an all-star, and players like Keldon Johnson, Lonnie Walker, and DeJounte Murray have been stepping it up this season. Murray doesn't play for the box score, he plays to win, and he plays hard on defense, which is what I love most about him. A lot of players don't get a lot of credit for being good on the defensive end, but someone has to do it. And DeJounte Murray takes on the challenge to defend the other team's best perimeter player night in and night out. His offensive game has been developing year after year, but this year he has taken the biggest leap. I didn't really see this coming, and his play has been contributing to wins. I thought he was just going to be a player that would just step up his game a little bit more, just like 2 more points a game and keep the same defense, but that wasn't the case this year. Murray is definitely a solid starter, and he's going to play his role well on any team. He's only 24 years old and still has a long way to go. And that's it. Those are the 6 most surprising NBA players this season. These players have shown great development out of nowhere seemingly, and I hope that trend continues. I love seeing players getting better and better. It just makes the game that much more enjoyable. And if you think I forgot to mention someone in the video today, leave it in the comments down below. I answer every single comment, and I'd like to have a discussion. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Subscribe for future basketball content, and thank you for watching.